Welcome back to the channel, guys. It's Caleb, the Heikin Ashi investor. This video is going to show you 3 different ways that you can 10x your learning speed. If you're a beginning trader, or if you're a new trader, or someone that's struggling in the stock market, this video is for you. So let's dive right in. First off, when you're just starting out trading in the stock market, it can be really tough to get any type of valuable feedback. I know this because I went through it myself personally. You're out there, you're reading books, you're watching videos, you're trading, you're probably losing money, probably losing more than you're making as you start out, and you're not getting any type of feedback on what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong. So one of the best ways I found for you to go ahead and do this without having to pay other people or pay for some expensive course or a one-on-one mentor is to give yourself feedback. Think of this as a take-home test. What you're going to do is you're going to do an assignment, and then you're going to look at the answer key and see how you did. So let me explain that in a little bit more detail. What I have up here right now is a chart. These are Heikin Ashi candles, and we are on the DIA, the Dow Jones ETF. So one thing that's really important that all technical analysts use when they're trading in the stock market is the supply and demand zones. You want to be able to look at a chart and you want to mark up that chart with where the supply and the demand is. These are key zones where price is usually going to react and possibly change direction. So what we're going to do is for assignment number 1 is you're going to mark up this chart on your own. So I'm on the TradingView platform here. I love TradingView. It's aesthetically pleasing. They have all types of tools. You can make really good looking charts, and they have an entire library of indicators that people have created. So I'm using TradingView, and I'm using indicators that are on here. So if you don't have it, I recommend signing up for the free account. You can get up to 5 indicators on your chart. But several other the popular platforms like Thinkorswim or TrendSpider, some of the other charting ones, probably have something similar to this. So if you're not on TradingView, try to follow along as best you can. Definitely take notes. So back to supply and demand. So if I'm looking at supply and demand are more zones. It's where price had some sort of reaction. So over here on the left-hand side, you can see when price got up in this area, things happen, right? It's not just drawing one line right across the very high there or one line right across the very low down here at the bottom. We don't want to do that. That's more of a resistance or support. We're looking for zones. So I'm going to take this zone here that I made, and I'm going to take it all the way across the chart. And you can see we're entering up into this zone again where we sold off the past 2 times. A couple others that I can identify. So it looks like some stuff happened right here. Oh yeah, the more I go back and forth, the more I see price dipped into it a few times, rejected at the top of it, came down, popped back up into it, sold down, came up, came back down and retested it, bounced out of it here, and kept going. And then just one more for good measure. Let's go ahead here across the bottom, and we'll draw one as I zoom out really far on the chart. Price acted in this zone as well. So what you're going to do is you're going to mark up a chart yourself to begin with. And I happen to like that spot right there where price rejected, came through, test, bounce. You're going to go in and you're going to type in key levels on TradingView. Now, this one's called Bjorgum Key Levels. I happen to already have it loaded up over here. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on the vision, and then boom, all of a sudden on the map or on the chart here, we have these blue and yellow lines. This algorithm for this indicator has gone ahead and used its mathematical equations to draw supply and demand zones. What I'm using it for is to test my own work. Do the zones that I've drawn match up to this intelligently designed algorithmic indicator here? And yes, they do. You can see we have a blue zone right here that's starting to line up. Look at this guy again. So I got some lining up down here. Down here, we're matching up pretty good. All through here, matching up pretty good. And then they drew these smaller zones up here at the top as well. And you can see this long line here that matched up in that zone. So that's number 1 figuring out supply and demand zones. Do the work yourself, then add the indicator and let the indicator test your work. If your zones are way off and not matching, that might be a sign for you to practice that a little bit more. All right, number two, we're going to go to trend lines. Now, trend lines are pretty simple. Everyone uses these. I say everyone, most people use these at least every now and then to take a look at kind of where price is reacting, where it's bouncing. Trend line trading makes up the foundation of some people's entire strategies, right? They draw trend lines, and then when that price breaks through that trend line, they take a trade. And there's people that do extremely well with that type of thing. So basically, when you're drawing a trend line, what you're doing is you're drawing from highs and lows at an angle. All right, a line straight across a set of lows or highs. Like if I were to draw a line straight across here, that's more of a resistance line. A trend line is going to be trending up, trending down, trending up, trending down. So same thing as what we just did. We're going to find some highs, and you want to connect at least two, three is even better points. And then you want to see how price reacts at that point, where it broke through and where it didn't. Now, to check myself, what we're going to do is we're going to go to TradingView and we're going to type in trend line with breaks by Lux Algo here. We're going to click on that. That's going to add it to the chart, and then boom, all of a sudden I have a green downward and red upward trend lines and a B just signifying where price broke. So once again, I'm going back through here and I'm testing my work using the answer key to see how I did. Well, this one lines up pretty good. This one lines up pretty good. This one lines up pretty good. This one's a little bit off. They drew one down here. They started one from the top that didn't end up going anywhere. This one, I connected all those. They just had it stopping out. I didn't really do a lot of these red ones here and here. So that's how you test your work with trend lines. Trend lines are a little bit of personal flavor to these things. But having something like this to take a look at is a really good way to test your work and see if what you're doing makes sense, and then start to see, with their trend lines and with your own, how price is reacting and breaking out. All right, let's go to the last one. The last one has to do with stop losses. Stop losses are going to be very personal to your strategy. There's a lot of different ways to go about setting stop losses. It can be a hard line in the sand. It can be you get out of the position when you reach a certain profit target. One of the very common ones is a trailing stop. Trailing stop is excellent for beginners because you basically find your entry into the trade and then you just trail it as it goes up, and eventually you get stopped out. It takes a lot of the decision making out of it. You don't panic when the price starts to pull back a little bit and sell everything. That happens often, where people will see the price start to pull back when they're sitting in a trade, and then they abandon their rules and they sell it because they don't want to give away any profit. And then next thing you know, it just shoots up twice as high. So looking at the trailing stop, one of the most popular indicators here on TradingView is called Super Trend. We're going to go ahead and type it in. Once you grab it, you got 38,000, almost 39,000 likes on this thing. It's by far one of the most popular, might be the most popular one. Basically what this is this is a trailing stop that rides underneath the price or on top of it if you're short. And it's based on the range that you put in of the stock's movement. So if you go over here, you can see the average true range is basically what we're going for. Stock moves on average, let's say $2 a day, either up or down. This thing takes a calculation of that $2 move. You can multiply it by a factor, maybe 2, 4, whatever, and then it plots out for you. This is excellent because it's a nice visual, right? You might not really know where a logical stop is. By throwing something like this on the chart, it can go ahead and help you start to identify areas of where you need to be getting out of trades, and possibly where you need to be getting in trades, right? If it shows us the downward, selling here, you can see when price came up through it the second time, it turned into a green wave or a green trade. Some people use these as a standalone signal itself to hop in and out of trades. More than welcome to do that at first. Um, but a really good way to back up your own theories on where you should be setting your stop. So let's say you're going back through this, you're looking at places that you might have taken an entry. You identify this area down here at the bottom, had kind of a double bottom bounce, and you're like, I would get into this once it breaks this level right here. Well, if you got in there, well, where are you going to get out? Would this candle here have stopped you out of this trade? If so, you might have missed an extra 6% move, which is quite big on the Dow. Um, if you throw the super trend on there, you can see by trailing your stop up and giving it some cushion, you would not have gotten stopped out there. You would have gotten stopped out up here and grabbed another 3 or 4% on that trade. So, just to recap for you guys, you need a way to get feedback when you're just starting out. It's really tough to do on your own. You don't know if you're doing things right or wrong. You might not know the errors that you're making. So this is a free and easy way to give yourself your own feedback, right? It's a take home test that you have the answer key to. So put in the work on these, put some time into going through charts and marking them up, see how you do with your trend lines, your supply and demand zones, and then start implementing those into your strategy that you use to trade. All right. Well, if you have any questions about what I just went over, please throw them down in the comments. If you have some favorite indicators of your own that you use on TradingView, I'm always looking for some new cool stuff to go over and review. Throw those down there in the comments as well. And do me a favor, if you find this content valuable and you enjoy it, please subscribe to the channel, leave the video a like. And as I work on providing more good content for you guys out there that are interested in Heikin Ashi and the stock market. Hope you have a great week.